Welcome everybody to Beyond the Box Set again.
Mm-hmm. We're back.
We're back.
Back again.
Yeah, but no, we're not back again. We're just back again.
Okay. Sorry, did I overback?
Yeah, you did, but as you always do.
Okay.
Because we're not going to pitch a sequel. We're just going to talk about this year's award nominees.
Mm-hmm. Wait a minute, let's not get ahead of ourselves, Harry. A little bit of context here. We're back recording for the first time since you became a dad. So how's fatherhood treating you?
Quite tired. Everything aches.
Yeah.
Yesterday, my right leg was really aching. Then at night, my left leg was really aching, and my right wrist hasn't really been working properly.
What's this baby doing to you?
It's just breaking me.
Breaking your body and spirit.
It's good. It's good though. I've not gone grey yet.
No, that's a good sign. Yeah.
Every haircut, I get quite scared because like when you have the haircut, it reveals the hair closer to your head, and that's where you see the grey coming out. I'm like, is this going to be the one?
And so
I'm just waiting for like that one haircut when like suddenly, oh my god, I'm grey now. Not like a little bit grey. I reckon I'm just going to go straight grey.
It'll just be overnight. It'll just be grey. Yeah.
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 So
I'd be more concerned about the recession than the colour change, but you know.
Well, nah.
Okay.
It's not going to happen.
Okay. Oh, sure. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah.
So yeah, on the whole, it's pretty good.
Cool.
And,
well, I hope one day I get to meet him. So.
Listeners, we joke. John is the godfather.
Yes, I've met him several times.
Okay, so...
Yes, so we're going to discuss the upcoming Oscars. We're recording this on the Saturday before the Oscar nominations are announced. And usually around this time of year, we would do an episode and talk about like the films that we think are going to get nominated, what we hope will get nominated, their predictions. A little bit different this year because for circumstances regarding, fatherhood and stuff, and you've not seen anything, really.
I might have seen one or two that'll get nominated.
Yeah, actually, there's a couple on the list, but for the most part, you've seen almost nothing. I have actually been freed from the shackles of this podcast every week. I've actually lived at the cinema for this past, and having no baby, so I've lived at the cinema for this past 6 weeks or so, and I've seen loads. So I've got loads of opinions on loads of films that you have not yet seen.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll talk about some of the ones that are most expected to get nominations, and for the ones you haven't seen, I'll talk you through the plot a little bit, and we'll see whether you're keen. I guess we'll just play it by ear. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a bit loosey goosey this one, but we'll see.
So I am aiming to watch all the Best Picture nominations.
I'm skeptical if you'll get there
for the Oscars this year. Yeah, it's my aim. It's not necessarily going to happen.
There are some this year that I think you'll really like.
Okay. Cool.
Last year, I felt like a lot of the Best Picture nominees were very depressing and quite slow. There's not some of those in that this year, but I think there are more crowd-pleasing ones this year that I found to be entertaining and fun and light, which is what I like to see. I don't like 9 horribly depressing, bleak dramas that nobody would watch at any other time of the year for any other reason other than the fact that it might win an Oscar. So,
yeah,
not to name any names, but yeah.
Yeah, because last year's Oscars was a tough time.
It wasn't the strongest year. And also the ceremony was crap. And I'm really hoping that it looks like, fingers crossed, they'll have a proper theatre again. They'll have the venue will be good. They're bringing back the hosts, which is exciting.
Oh, are they?
They haven't said who yet, but they said they are having a host.
Oh, fantastic.
And I just hope that they end it on Best Picture and show the clips again. Last year they didn't even show any clips. And for a year when most people couldn't see the films, bizarre choice to not show any clips. Yeah. Really weird. So...
Because also they didn't have loads to talk about.
No, yeah.
I don't understand why they always make the Oscars an event that needs to finish at a certain time. Like
TV scheduling, I guess?
Yes, but like it's the Oscars. It's the biggest award ceremony there is. Of any industry. It is the biggest award ceremony. Why does it not get more screen time?
I agree.
I just don't get it. And like, because the only way that they cut down the time... Just cut the speeches,
which is the bit everyone you could. The thing is, you always could cut it down easily by just shaving off all the montages and the unfunny bits in between. Just shows the speeches, shows the clips. That's what we're here for. Sing a sad song, show it was everyone who died in the past year. Yeah. That's what we want.
Oh,
yeah. Well, it's part of it.
Yeah.
So. Anyway, hopefully it'll be a good ceremony. I think there's some good films in this year. So I've got a list in front of me of the films that are, most based on all the precursor awards and the predictions and the betting that are most likely to be nominated. I've got a longer list than there is space on the tally. So some of these will and some of these won't.
Okay.
So I'll just talk through some ones I've seen, some ones you've seen. I'll start.
By the way, listeners, this doesn't mean that we're not going to do full reviews for all these.
We're going to try to,
Yeah, because we're hopefully going to record one just after this if we have time. But yeah, I'd like to do reviews for everything that we both see, but I can't promise how many films that will be.
True. Yeah.
Might be 3.
We'll do our best. But so I'll go through these in, I guess, vaguely alphabetical order. So I'll start with a film that I saw last week, which I think is almost definite. I would say 99.9. I'd be stunned if this didn't get a Best Picture nomination, and that is Belfast.
Okay.
It's been very well regarded, Belfast. I really, really liked this film. I thought it was going to be horribly bleak and depressing because it's in black and white and it's about the troubles in Northern Ireland.
Oh no, black and white. Oh.
It's I will say this: its use of color is really good. I liked the use of color in this film.
It's one of those films.
It's one of those ones that has. I don't want to spoil it for you but there are transitions between black and white and color that I thought were really nicely done. So I liked it. It definitely had a feeling of a film that was shot during COVID. It does look a little bit setty, but I think the black and white somewhat kind of disguises that. Maybe that's why they decided to.
Yeah, it really can it?
But the main thing about this is it's just really charming. It's short. It's 96 minutes, I think, so it goes down really smoothly. It's just incredibly charming. It's about a little kid who's, I think he's a Protestant, if I remember correctly, but he's living on a mixed street in Northern Ireland during the, I think it's the 50s, 60s. It's directed by Kenneth Branagh, and it's based on his life because he grew up in Northern Ireland and then moved to England as a child because of the Troubles. So he's like in a working class family. His dad's a labourer who works over in England, and he's on this mixed family in Belfast. This mixed street in Belfast that has Catholics and Protestants. And during the Troubles, there was a huge amount of violence between Catholics and Protestants, unionists and people who wanted to stay in the United Kingdom versus people who wanted a united Ireland, all this kind of stuff. And it caused all these riots in the streets, and it was an incredibly dark time. And he's living on this street, but he's this little kid. It's not as broadly a comedy as Jojo Rabbit, but it had that vibe of like showing something very serious through the eyes of a little boy who doesn't quite take it all in.
Okay, yeah.
Sees it with a very innocent perspective. Like there's a lot of stuff about like joining a gang and whose gang are you in and can I be in your gang kind of thing. And I think it's done really nicely. I think it's done really, really well. And yeah, I just found it super, super sweet, very heartwarming. I mean, I grew up in Liverpool and most of my family are from Irish Catholic backgrounds. So it kind of, there's an old granny and grandpa played by Judi Dench and Ciarán Hinds. And they're just absolutely lovely and very sweet and have some great scenes together. So, and Jamie Dornan's in it looking pretty fit as the dad. It's just great. It's just a fun time.
Yeah.
I would say
that's really what I want. What I want a film like this to be described as.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Great. It's a fun time.
It's not going to leave you thinking. It has its moments of sadness, but it's not one where you're going to walk out or turn it off and be like, you're going to be. You're going to leave it with your heart warmed, not frozen or beaten to a bloody pulp.
Yeah.
And if you like Van Morrison, there's a lot of Van Morrison songs in this film.
Cool.
Yeah. It's just like every other song. I guess because he's like the most famous Northern Irish singer. Do you even know who Van Morrison is?
No, I don't. Sorry.
Brown Eyed Girl. You know Brown Eyed Girl. Everyone knows Brown Eyed Girl. You my brown eyed girl. Do 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 do. You'd know it. You know,
I love it when you do that.
Everybody knows Brown Eyed.
It never works when you try and sing
Well,
it.
When you get off here, Spotify Brown Eyed Girl, but you would know the song. Everyone fucking knows Brown Eyed Girl.
Okay,
Well, the point I'm making is like
I know the name Van Morrison, so I probably do know the music. I just don't.
Yeah, and it's good music, but yeah, it's like you'd think no other Irish singers existed because it's like there's literally 6 music drops of 6 different Van Morrison songs in this film. It's ridiculous. It's a good drinking game.
Yeah.
But yeah, that made me laugh a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. I recommend it highly. It's in the cinemas. It's not streaming yet, so you might not get to see it for a while. But if you can find a way, legally or otherwise, I think it's definitely one you should prioritize because it will definitely be nominated, and I think you really like it.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
These boys are suffering. I don't think we've got till Easter. I don't think you and me have got till Easter either.
Liam, come home. We'll fight this together.
Kids the same age as ours are getting killed or in the corner.
We'll be careful.
You can't be with them 24 hours a day. You can't take away their childhood either.
Next one is one that we've both seen that we're going to review shortly. This one, I would say, probably has a 50-50 chance of being a Best Picture nominee. It was very divisive. Some people love it. Some people hate it. And that is Don't Look Now.
Don't Look Up.
Don't Look Up. Sorry, Don't Look Up.
Yeah.
Yes, don't look up the Adam McKay, very subtle allegory for climate change.
Yeah. Or COVID, or just any kind
Or
of...
many things, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's more about climate change,
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah. It was kind of like ignoring scientists.
Yeah, which is
Like,
what people do with climate change.
And COVID.
And COVID, yes, but
Like
more so.
vaccinations. Like it's...
Yeah, no, I get it. But I think
you can apply it to many things.
you can absolutely. It's basically about people being stupid and
And
self-harming.
like blindlessly following politicians
Yes.
who have a definite ulterior motive.
Exactly. Having seen this one, do you think this one's Oscar worthy?
I don't know. Like it's either a hard yes or a hard no. It
Well, where do you land?
for me,
For you personally, yeah.
for me, definitely yes.
Yeah,
I
okay.
really enjoyed this.
Okay, good.
Let's not say too much on it because we'll do a full review on it now.
Mm-hmm.
But I could see this one being nominated.
Yeah, I think it will. I think enough people will like it. And the thing is, this is probably the one that everybody's seen. It's been so discussed and it's so available because it's on Netflix. Everybody's talking about it. Everyone's seen it. So I think there'll be enough people who like it that it will probably sneak in there.
Yeah.
In terms of the acting, if you could, because this has got a huge cast. You've got Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, Meryl Streep, Mark Rylance, Jonah Hill, loads of, I'm sure I'm forgetting.
Kate Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett, of course, yeah. Who would you look at for acting nominations, if anyone, for this?
Leo, definitely.
Yeah.
I think he was outstanding in this. I think, I quite like Meryl Streep.
See, I like this film okay. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it either. I thought it was pretty entertaining all told. I thought Meryl was badly cast.
Really?
Yeah, I understand why they cast Meryl in it, because she's had like very public like fights with Donald Trump, like he's called her overrated and stuff, and just when he was the president. So she's obviously doing a Donald Trump thing, but I just don't think Meryl Streep could ever be convincing as someone as stupid as Donald Trump is. It just didn't quite sit for me. I don't know.
Okay. Is there somebody you have in mind instead?
I don't know. Well, it depends whether they want to just do a full Donald Trump impersonation and make it obvious, or just you could have Meryl Streep playing a different kind of president. But I just didn't think Meryl Streep is a stupid, and this president is stupid. Like that's the whole point. She's an idiot.
Yeah.
I think Meryl Streep is one of those actors who's too intelligent to be convincing as a stupid person. It just sometimes you see that, you know what I mean? Like she just doesn't play dumb very well. So I didn't love Meryl in this. I did think
I love the way that you're completely panning Meryl in this by compliments.
it's the only thing I can do. It's the best. I can go no further.
Yeah.
I do think Leo was very good. I could get on board with him. I thought Jennifer Lawrence was probably my favorite just because she was the most fun. I don't know if it's the kind of performance where you'd give it an Oscar, but I thought she was
I know what you
the
mean.
most entertaining.
Yeah.
I really liked her running joke about her being perplexed by the guy who tried to steal money off her for no reason.
Yeah.
The guy who tried to charge her for a bag, like something really petty, like a bag of chips or something, and it just eats away at her for the whole film. Like that I thought was very funny.
Yeah.
I thought this was good. Wouldn't be something I'd want to like see win loads of awards, but I don't mind if it's there. Yeah, I don't think it's a bad film.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's good to have ones that people have seen, because if it's just 9 obscure indie films that it's not as much fun for people to engage with. So
Yes.
you've got to have your blockbusters in your crowd, please.
And that's what last year was missing.
I think that's the case. I think also because of COVID, the blockbusters last year weren't released, so it did just fall to the much smaller films, which is nice to see get some spotlight, but you got to balance it out. So yeah, I'm hoping this year.
If you want to make an entertaining collection of films,
absolutely.
I heard there's an asteroid or a comet or something that you don't like the looks of. Tell me about it. You got 20 minutes.
20 minutes?
Go.
A comet between 5 to 10 kilometers across that we estimate came from the Oort cloud. And using Gauss's method of orbital determination and the average astrometric uncertainty of 0.04.
Whoa.
I'm
Tell us
so
what.
bored. Just tell us what it is. Seriously, stop.
What Dr. Mindy is trying to say is that there's a comet headed directly towards Earth.
And then what happens? Like a tidal wave?
It will be far more catastrophic. There will be mile-high tsunamis.
So how certain is this?
There's 100% certainty of impact.
Please, don't say 100%.
Can we just call it a potentially significant event?
But it isn't potentially going to happen.
99.78% to be exact.
Oh, great. Okay, so it's not 100%.
Call it 70% and let's move on.
But it's not even close to 70%.
Let's just use like 60% as a working number.
another blockbuster that you have seen, Dune. I think Dune is definitely going to be a Best Picture nominee.
Yes, but why?
Because it's epic and it's big and it looks great and,
Yeah, but
Arrival was really good.
Arrival was really good.
Yeah. I'm stretching it. I didn't mind. Again, I liked Dune. I think I liked Dune more than you did, but it was a little bit slow.
Yeah.
And it felt like half a film.
Yeah, well, it was
a very long half. Well, that's something. Yeah, it was half a film.
It's literally Dune Part 1. They didn't include that in the marketing because Part 1 films don't do well.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But even though it was very long, it really felt like a film that just chopped in half. Like if it hadn't been successful financially and they hadn't commissioned a second one, it'd just be really weird.
Would it be nominated if it hadn't had a sequel planned, commissioned?
Oh no, I think if it had flopped, it probably wouldn't have done much. But I think there's so few original. I know it's based on a book, but original as in not MCU and not DC. There's so few like non-franchisey, even though this is setting up a franchise.
Yeah, this is a franchise.
But it's going to be a 2-film. They're not going to make loads of these because it's not.
I think
it's not profitable enough. They might say they might want 9 of them, but this one, it made 400 million worldwide, which for the cost it probably just about made a profit.
But remember that doesn't include the streaming figures because it was also released on HBO Max on day one.
True. Well, I guess what I'm saying is like there's so few films that are both blockbusters and also kind of artistic. I'm not being snobby about MCU films, but like
you are.
I'm not. I'm just I'm looking at from the perspective of the kind of people who are voting for these kind of things. I think
from the kind of people who are voting, that's why this one's getting in.
Sure, but I mean, I think they just really would want something like this. This looks good for them if they reward it well. And
does it? Why? Why does it look good for them?
It's making art. It's interesting and it looks great. And I think there's a lot of craft to it. So
yes, and so it's had 11 nominations in the BAFTAs, and I think it deserves 10 of them.
Yeah, everything but Best Picture.
Yeah, because it's swept the technicals, and rightly so, because it looks fantastic, it sounds fantastic, it's really well made, excellent cast.
But that's the thing, this isn't going to get any acting nominations.
No.
Nobody's saying Timothée Chalamet is going to get Best Actor for this.
No.
So I guess it's the same in the Oscars. It's just it's getting Best Picture not because it's this amazing acting showcase. It's more that it's a technical achievement. So
yeah, but then what about some of the Avengers movies?
I guess.
What about Avengers Endgame is a technical achievement?
True.
Well, compare Dune to Spider-Man No Way Home.
Sure.
Because that's the thing I've been getting rid of.
I've got a soapbox being pulled up, but sure, yeah.
Got a little quote from Kevin Feige here.
Okay, go ahead.
About Spider-Man in the awards. I think about the artistry that goes into storytelling that connects with a wide range of people on a very emotional level. It's a good thing when people are in a theatre and they stand up and cheer. It's a good thing when people are wiping tears because they're thinking back on their last 20 years of moviegoing and what it has meant to them. That, to me, is a very good thing. The sort of thing the Academy was founded back in the day to recognise. And I'm pretty sure we probably both agree Spider-Man is not going to get a nomination this year.
Probably not, no.
But why would a film like Spider-Man get ignored when a film like Dune doesn't?
No, I agree, and I think there's no reason
because Dune has less jokes.
True.
It's less of a comedy and more of a serious film. But
I think that's absolutely what it is.
It's still a ridiculous sci-fi.
Yeah.
That doesn't really make any sense. It doesn't really translate into the real world that well. Yeah. It's not some message for something else about climate change or class dividing or something. So what is it? What is it that makes Dune eligible for a Best Picture nomination? This is all assuming that Dune does get nominated. We don't know, do we?
Sure.
But what makes it eligible and Spider-Man not?
No, I agree. I couldn't tell you. I guess, like I said, it's more, Dune is more like self-serious. It takes itself more seriously, which I don't think is a qualifier to be.
Doesn't make it a better film, does it?
No, not at all. But I think that's kind of why, and because it's not. And I think there's a sense, and again, I'm not saying this is my opinion, but I think there's a sense that why does Spider-Man need Oscars? It's already made all the money in the world. Why does it need to take a spot away from a film that hasn't made all the money in the world? So I think there's that as what's the point? And also I think
the Oscars weren't built on sympathy.
No, I understand, I agree, but I think that's what some people are thinking. And also I think that there's kind of a sense of franchise fatigue, whereas Dune is a new thing and it's trying to be something new, even though it's based on something old, whereas Spider-Man is the 20-something... It was the 8th Spider-Man film and the 20, 30-something MCU film in the past 15 years. I think they're just like, unless it's like Black Panther, which did get loads of nominations because it was like actively breaking boundaries. The first major all-black cast, film. So that's I think Spider-Man doesn't really have that. It just has. It's one of the best ones. It's really entertaining. It's good. It's a good time. It looks fantastic, but what separates it from all the other ones, particularly, and I think that might be hurting it a little bit. Again, not my opinion, just what I think.
Yeah.
But I agree because
I could definitely see that coming from the people who vote for the Academy Awards.
Sure,
that's where they'd be coming from. Just like, another one of these.
Yeah,
because it is the fourth one from Marvel alone this year. Yeah, and there's been others.
Well, I agree with you in the sense that like there's loads of films that are super commercial. Like Forrest Gump is the most commercial film ever made, and that one got loads of Oscars. More recently, West Side Story, which we haven't talked about yet, but which actually was a complete flop, but is very commercially minded and is a remake of an old film and doesn't do much that's particularly new. It looks great, it sounds great, but that will get showered with Oscars. But Spider-Man won't, and I think the difference is that there's a snobbery towards fantasy, whereas anything else is considered a higher art form in many ways. Yeah, unless you're like either Dune or Lord of the Rings.
Well, we'll have to see. I mean,
we'll have to see. Maybe it'll surprise.
Yeah, and like I might have said something if this June release was instead Lord of the Rings: Fellowship of the Ring, which was the start of a franchise, and it came like out of nowhere, just based on an old book. Maybe I'd say the same sort of thing. And then you get to the end of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and you're like, oh yeah, no, they all three deserve Best Picture nominations. For all I know, Dune might just turn into that.
True,
but it is difficult to kind of give it that qualification now when it is just half a movie that doesn't have any kind of end.
True. And imagine if the Fellowship of the Ring, we're going on a tangent now, if the Fellowship of the Ring had like been a financial failure, although it wouldn't have made any sense because they filmed all three of those at the same time, so they would have had to come out anyway, I guess. But theoretically, if it had been a financial failure and the other two got scrapped, you'd still probably look at Fellowship and be like, that's a damn good film. It's a shame they didn't make more, but that is a great film. And I do wonder if there was no more of Dune, would you really go back and watch Dune? As a single, does it work as a single entity?
100% not.
Yeah, not so much.
No.
So, yeah.
The characters aren't engaging enough.
No, I agree. And every time they said spice, I was like, my eyes rolled further back. Why is it always spice? Boba Fett started doing this too. Why is
really
spice
annoying,
just like it's like the universal...
It's the generic
like term, non-term for saying, just say heroin. Just say heroin. It's fine. Make it space heroin. But Anyway, so... So very far removed from Dune, a completely different kind of film that I've seen. I saw this week that I liked a lot more than I expected to, was CODA.
Okay.
And this is Apple TV's big Oscar push. This is their big hopeful this year. I don't think Apple TV have ever had a major Oscar push. They're obviously quite a new platform, relatively speaking.
I swear they've tried.
Yeah, I'm sure I can't think of any that were nominated. Nomadland was Disney Plus. I can't think. Maybe they have had other ones, but this is probably going to be the first Apple TV film to get multiple nominations. This is a film, CODA stands for Child of Deaf Adults.
Okay.
And it's about a teenage girl whose entire family, her mother, her father, and her older brother, are all profoundly deaf. And what's great about this film, all the deaf characters are played by deaf actors, which is nice. You don't have to watch, I don't know who, like Bradley Cooper pretending to be deaf, which is, 10 years ago you would have been, So that's what. So
Jared Leto.
He'd do it. Oh, it would have been Jared Leto. Yeah. It absolutely would have been Jared Leto. Yeah. Who we'll get to. I have a lot of opinions about Jared Leto this year. But so large portions of this film are conducted entirely in sign language, subtitled obviously, so you can understand them as a non-sign language speaker. But I thought this was fantastic. And again, I think you'll really like it. It's not depressing. It's really, really funny, actually. This was laugh out loud funny, really heartwarming, really touching in places. So she's a child of an all-deaf family, and so she's been kind of used to being
she's not deaf.
She's not deaf. She hears perfectly.
Yeah.
And they're also quite very working class. They don't have a lot of money. They work. The dad and the brother work fishing. They go out on the boats and they fish, kind of like Forrest Gump, really, on one of those trawler kind of things. And then they sell the fish to the markets, and they're really struggling to make ends meet. And she has to get up every morning and help them on the fish on the trawler because they need somebody who can hear legally to be on the boat with them for health and safety reasons, because otherwise they can't hear alarms, they can't hear other boats, etc. They can't hear radios alerting of things. So she needs to help them out because they can't afford to hire anyone. So she works with them for free. This isn't a spoiler, this is the plot. So she has to get up at like 3 o'clock every morning, do this, then go to school, usually stinking of fish, she's very used to being like protective. All the kids obviously make fun of her family. They think they're weird and all this stuff. So she's used to being very protective of them and them kind of relying on her. And then as the film goes on, she also discovers... It's weird. It's kind of like two different films. There's one really interesting kind of gritty film about what it's like to be deaf in America and to not have a lot of money and, you know, how to make ends meet. And then there's this second film that's kind of super generic where she joins the choir and discovers that she joins the choir because there's a boy she likes and she wants to be in the choir with him. And then she discovers, oh my God, I've got an amazing singing voice. And it's like so generic. And then everyone's like, but you're so talented. And it's kind of like, oh, this is like an episode of Glee, my God. And that part of it kind of, so there's a lot of sentimentality and a lot of cliches, but in that half of the story, but the other half of the story stays really interesting. And then just altogether, it just somehow kind of worked for me. I thought the acting was fantastic all across the board. The deaf actors, the non-deaf actors, I thought everyone in it was super charismatic and charming. And just, yeah, and I thought it was just lovely. And it's definitely going to get a Best Picture, I think, or very likely to. And I think there'll be some acting in there as well. So I think that's one's definitely one to watch. So,
Okay.
Yeah, I think that'll be one that you and Louise will both enjoy. It's a very easy watch, and again, it won't make you feel super sad.
It sounds good. I like the concept.
Yeah, no, it is a really good concept, and it's very well done for the most part. So yeah, I liked CODA a lot.
Nice.
So one that will probably be nominated for Best Actress might get for Best Picture. It is Being the Ricardos, from Aaron Sorkin, who did The Trial of the Chicago 7 a couple years ago, which was a big Oscar film.
Yeah.
I can't remember, did you like Trial of the Chicago 7?
I did and I didn't. Like, there was a lot of it that I enjoyed, but I think it was the film that kind of confirmed, I don't like Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah. This one is...
Because it was very scripted.
All of his films are very scripted, and this was too, but I think slightly less so. But yeah, and this felt to me like a film that probably makes more sense if you're American, because it's based on the life. Well, it's not based on. It is about the life of an actress called Lucille Ball, who was very famous in America in the '60s. She was like one of the first big sitcom stars. She had her own sitcom in the 1960s called I Love Lucy, which is like iconic in America, but I don't think really ever got shown here, or certainly hasn't, like, you know, it's not something kids today are watching or referencing, you know. So Nicole Kidman plays Lucille Ball, Javier Bardem plays her husband in real life. Her husband, the actress' husband, was also the author, played her husband in the sitcom, so it's kind of quite meta.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's about them, and they're shooting this super popular sitcom, and they're having marital difficulties. He's may or may not be having an affair and cheating on her. She's trying to find out the truth. And also the show is being in danger of being cancelled because she's been accused of being a communist. And this is at the height of like 1960s, like communist witch hunts, when it was like people were literally being cancelled for being communists or any kind of socialist leanings. So that's the story, basically. Very Aaron Sorkin, very about, you know, about being on television and about politics and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
I thought it was good. I thought it was engaging. I was never bored. I thought Kidman was really, really good. I kind of watched it. I got to the end. I was like, well, I like that. I just didn't really see the point of it. You know, I was just like, well, that was really interesting. But why was it a film? Like, so I don't know. You might like it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say rush to see it. I would say put that on your middle list. But it was decent, and I think there's a good chance that she'll win the Oscar. She seems to be getting a bit of momentum right now. So, you know, they love it. It's like
you said that for a few people to me.
It's quite competitive this year. It's good, but I think the actress one is between her and Olivia Coleman. Maybe Lady Gaga, but we'll see. But you know how the Oscars loves when somebody plays another famous person. You know, like when Renee Zellweger played Judy Garland, or Rami Malek played
Freddie Mercury.
Yes, there's that. So and Nicole Kidman was very good. So I wouldn't be angry if she won. But, yeah. Didn't super excite me, but it was okay.
Lucy Ricardo will be pregnant on the show. An 8-episode arc, starting with Lucy telling Ricky the happy news and ending with the birth of the baby.
No. You can't have a pregnant woman on television.
Why not?
Because it's television. We come into people's homes.
Pregnant women often vomit.
I know I could any second.
May I say something?
Frankly, I can't
If
wait.
Lucy Ricardo's pregnant, the audience's mind immediately goes to how did she get that way? Lucy and Ricky sleep in separate beds.
We'll be pushing the beds together too.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry, Des. We're going to have to put our foot down on this one. You can't do it. End of discussion.
Okay, so should we talk about House of Gucci?
Okay.
Right, House of Gucci. So you haven't seen this one, have you, yet?
No.
I do think you should.
I've had the option to go see it in the cinema, and I decided not to.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
when was this? Have you had the option to leave the house?
Well, it came out months ago.
Oh, I guess it. Oh no, you're right. We vetoed it.
Yeah.
Well, you vetoed it. We went to see someone else entirely. Yeah.
Spider-Man, I think.
Yeah. Oh, and that was never going to be that was never going to win that battle, was that? But that's fine. I'm happy that we saw Spider-Man. I saw this in the cinema.
No, I think it might have been. I think we might have blanked it for June.
Yes, we did. Either Dune or the Eternals. Yeah. So
like either way, it wasn't a hard out win, was it?
No,
it was like, oh, that was quite a boring film. Maybe House of Gucci would have been. No, it would have been terrible.
No, I think if you were going to watch one on the big screen between Dune and House of Gucci, you better to have seen Dune on the big screen. you could watch House of Gucci on TV. Yeah. It feels quite TV movie-ish, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't vibe with this film at all.
No,
it's just
how long is it?
It's too long. Yeah, it's like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all.
Way longer than it needs to be. Mm-hmm. So the story is about. So Lady Gaga plays this woman, Patrizia something or other.
Is it anything to do with Gucci, the brand?
Yes, it is.
Right. Okay.
So Lady Gaga plays a real life woman who marries into the Gucci family, and the Gucci is already this very old established fashion house, and so she gets married to Adam Thingy from Marriage Story, and he played Dolph
Driver.
Adam Driver. I don't know why that left my head. Yeah, she gets married to Adam Driver, and marries into this Gucci and this crazy family. And then they become they stop running Gucci, but then he's basically, their marriage falls apart, and it's about how she tries to keep. What is it about? I've forgotten the basic plot now. Oh yeah, she tries to have him killed. That's it. Yeah. So honestly, this film, it just went on and on and on. So the tone of this film is bizarre because you got about 5 or 6 very esteemed. Well, you got 5 or 6 very esteemed actors and Lady Gaga, who I guess did well in A Star Is Born. Fine, yeah. She can act, whatever. But they're all. I don't think any of them are actually Italian. I think she maybe has... No, she has Italian family. She's legit Italian. But everyone in this is doing a different version of an Italian accent. And it's comical how different they are. Like, you've got her doing... I guess she's maybe doing the best accent, I guess. You've got Adam Driver, who's sort of attempting. You've got Jeremy Irons, who starts off vaguely trying to be Italian and then just goes straight back to British and just stays British for the rest of his time in the film.
Right.
And then you've got Al Pacino, who's just like being Al Pacino with a slight twang. And then you've got Jared Leto, who's like, "It's-a me, Mario!" And I cannot express... Honestly, I cannot express how jaw-droppingly bad Jared Leto is in this movie.
Really?
And it is stunning to me that he might get nominated for Best Supporting Actor. Because it is... god awful. Like it's like The Room levels of over the top ridiculous. And the thing is, if the whole movie was like that, I'd be like, yeah, great. It's a comedy. He knows what movie he's in. He's giving a great comedy performance.
Yeah.
But the movie isn't that funny, and it really. There are long periods of it that are super boring, and then there's occasional bits that are just really camp and weird. But it never gels. Like it never feels like anyone's in the same film kind of thing. And I just found it really flat. I thought the direction was really flat. Yeah, I wasn't keen on it, but there was a lot of stuff that just made me cringe. But yeah, I don't understand at all why this is. Some people seem to really like this film. Yeah. I just did not get it at all. I was like, I thought this was actively a bad film, like a badly made, mostly badly acted film. So I was really surprised and continue to be surprised.
Would it be a fun time while drunk?
I think you'd have to be, because I watched it stone cold sober and that did not help.
Okay.
But yeah, I think a few beers would make this go down a lot smoother.
That doesn't sound like, it's Saturday night, you're having a few drinks with your friends. Hey, let's put on this stupid film and drink to it.
It's not, that's what I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
I'd love it if it was that, but it's not quite that. It's like, it has its moments, but there's...
So is there any situation which you'd watch it again?
I think I probably would.
I'm not asking to watch it with you.
No, but I think I'd maybe, again, in the situation of watching it with other people and a few beers, just to see if it was as bad as I remembered it being. Or maybe I was just wrong-footed by it, and then, maybe the second time I'd have more positive things to think about it, but I wouldn't be rushing to see it again now. And the thing that annoys me the most is that this is directed by Ridley Scott, who directed 2 films this year. This, which is getting showered with all these awards, I think undeservedly. And then his other one, The Last Duel, which I thought was great.
It's also Adam Driver, isn't it?
Also has Adam Driver in it. I think they probably shot them back to back. Yeah, Last Duel is great, and everyone's just ignoring it, and that's probably not going to get any nominations anymore. It might.
Is it based on any real people?
Yes, but it's based on like long ago, not like showbiz people. It's set in like the 13th century. So
yeah, well, that's its problem.
Yeah, I really liked The Last Duel because it felt like an old-fashioned swords and sandals, like swashbuckling. Everyone's wearing chainmail, and it's just. I just found it a lot more engaging. The acting was a lot better. It was really fun in places. I thought it had an interesting structure. It had it's basically the story of a knight in 13th century France who goes off to fight a war, and while he's at war, his wife is raped by. So the knight is played by Matt Damon, and his wife is played by Jodie Comer from Killing Eve. And while he's away, she is raped by Adam Driver, who is another knight. Who's kind of a more popular knight, because Matt Damon plays kind of a stick in the mud kind of knight who everyone respects because he's a good warrior, but nobody actually likes him. He doesn't really have any friends. Whereas Adam Driver's very charismatic and he's friends with all the popular knights and lords and ladies, etc., including Ben Affleck, who is really fun in this. Probably the most fun I've seen Ben Affleck be in a long, long time. Yeah, playing like a medieval Boris Johnson, which is a weird choice, but it kind of works. Okay, he's got like platinum blonde hair, and he's just when you see it, you'll know he's just doing an impression of Boris Johnson. It's just like, okay. But it really works for the character. Yeah. So fair enough. And it's fun. So
what's his role?
He plays like a very senior, maybe a prince. Okay. But he's higher up, and because he likes Adam Driver, he lets him get away with everything. And he doesn't like Matt Damon. He finds Matt Damon really boring and too serious. And so he doesn't take him seriously. Yeah. And so there's kind of an injustice there straight away. But also you watch it and you're kind of like, well, Matt Damon is kind of a pill. The real victim in it is Jodie Comer's character, obviously. But the way it's shot is really good because it's told it's quite long, but it's split nicely into 3 chapters. So you've got the first 45 minutes are the story from Matt Damon's perspective that very much makes him look like this like hero who's been like wronged, and it's very black and white. Then you see it from Adam Driver's perspective, and it gives you a little bit more nuance to it. It kind of implies that maybe was it rape or were they having an affair? Did she encourage him, kind of thing? Right. And also it makes him look a lot more charismatic versus Matt Damon. Yeah. And then the third one is from Jodie Comer's character's perspective, which tells it from
just shows you everything.
Yeah, kind of. It's funny. Yeah, it kind of it very much implies that her version is the true version. So, and it's really interesting. Like it I think the way that structure actually makes the film that could otherwise have been a little bit dull. It keeps it really interesting, and it really makes you think about how the different perspectives are intersecting.
Is it like the same thing from 3 different angles, or is it like scenes are done differently, like with slightly different scripts and different
scenes are done differently with different scripts? So the interactions, the same conversations happen, but different words are said, different actions are said. Like Matt Damon's reaction to Jodie Comer.
So it's almost like these 3 characters are remembering it after the fact.
Yeah.
And remembering it slightly
very
differently.
Very much so, because it all culminates in this fight to the death between Matt Damon and Adam Driver. And basically what they decide is that, because they believe that like these kind of duels are ordained by God, and whoever wins, that means that they must have been telling the truth because God was on their side. Right. That's what they believed. Yeah. So it's really, there's a whole lot of tension because whoever wins, obviously the other one will die, but also that reflects on whether Jodie Comer has been telling the truth or whether she's a liar and she's accused someone of rape, which is a crime. Yeah. So it really builds up the tension, and that the actual duel, I won't spoil what happens in case you watch it because I think you should, but it is bone-crunchingly tense. It is so, I watched it with like my hand over my mouth. It was this film really gripped me. Like it started off a little bit slow, but by the end I was edge of my seats, and it's been a long time since a film's done that to me. So I'm really annoyed that nobody's paying attention to this film, and especially because everyone's paying attention to a much worse film by the same director. It's very puzzling to me.
So is this for you what Spider-Man is to me?
Yes, but
it's the snub of the century.
Yeah, but at least you can say Spider-Man made loads of money and everyone saw it. This film just bombed. Yeah. This film just like nobody watched, which is probably why it's kind of been forgotten a little bit because it didn't make it. It was like a huge flop, made hardly any money. I think it just was marketed very badly, and it was unfortunately released just as Omicron spiked and stuff. So it was just bad timing. Got buried, but deserves better. And I hope this film finds an audience in the long run, even if it doesn't get any Oscars. So yeah, House of Gucci, bad, but we'll probably get nominated. We'll get nominated for some things. Might get Best Picture nominated, but Last Duel, underrated. Oh, what else have we got? Oh, The Power of the Dog. Okay. This is a Netflix one. This is also very, very likely, probably the second most likely after Belfast to get Best Picture. Directed by Jane Campion, who I don't think you will have seen any films. She did a very famous film called The Piano in the 90s. I think you might struggle with this one. It's a little bit slow. It does have Benedict Cumberbatch, who is very, very good in it.
Okay. I don't like all his films.
No, but
just because he's Doctor Strange,
he
I
is
don't
very
like him
good,
in everything.
but he's very good, and like he's the most interesting thing about this film.
Okay.
So I think that will give you something to hang on to. He's very good.
Yeah.
It's set in like the 1930s, 40s ish. It's not quite clear because it's like in the Old West when it's kind of everything's like in a little bit in the past anyway, or like stuck in the past. So him and his brother, played by Jesse Plemons from Breaking Bad and lots of things, they're brothers who run a ranch. I think a ranch in the West somewhere. I forget what state it's set in. And then the brother Jesse Plemons marries Kirsten Dunst.
Okay.
And she is like a widow, a young widow who's running a restaurant. So she's kind of living hand to mouth. And she's got this teenage son who's played by an actor called Cody Smith-McPhee. Again, I don't know what you just seen him in. He was Oscar nominated years ago when he was a kid for something about riding whales. I forget what it was called now. It was was it called The Whale Rider? I can't remember. Anyway,
creative.
I don't think it was, but it was something like that. Anyway, he was very good. He's like this not very masculine, kind of very quiet, shy little boy who likes, well, not a little boy, he's like 19, reads a lot of books. So, and basically the main plot thing of the story is that Benedict Cumberbatch takes an instant dislike to Kirsten Dunst. I think he's like quite jealous that she's kind of taken his brother away from him and just spends the film utterly tormenting her. But he also develops kind of an interesting kind of antagonistic relationship with this teenage boy. And it's kind of just about their relationships and how they kind of torment each other a little bit. It does get interesting, but it is definitely quite slowly paced. So I kind of thought about it a lot afterwards. It's one that I probably will watch again, just because probably is one of those ones that a second watch might.
One that sticks with you.
Yeah, it wasn't one that I was like gripped by, but I did kind of afterwards. I was like, oh, that was pretty interesting. So
well, that sounds like it's more interesting than Nomadland then.
Yeah. Oh God, for sure. Yeah, it's not.
Like Nomadland did not stick with me, other than the fact that like, why did that win?
Yeah. No. I think it's better. Well, I think it's more engaging than Nomadland.
Yeah.
I think it's worth a go because it's definitely one that will get loads of nominations and might even win Best Picture. So I think it's definitely worth giving it a chance. But not the most accessible of all the films, I would say.
I wonder what little lady made these.
Actually, I did, sir. My mother was a florist, so I made them to look like the ones in our garden.
Oh, well, do pardon me. They're just as real as possible. Now, gentlemen, look, see, that's what you do with the cloth.
It's really just for wine drips.
Oh, you got that, boys. Only for the drip. Now get us some food.
Oh, a really fun one was Licorice Pizza.
Okay.
Really liked this one.
Yeah.
It was directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, who did Boogie Nights, which we did on the main show.
Yeah.
And also Phantom Thread, which I know you were not a fan of. But this one's a lot more fun. This one's a lot more fun. It stars Alana Haim from the band Haim and Cooper... Oh, I forget his surname. Well, Cooper Hoffman, because Cooper Hoffman is Philip Seymour Hoffman's son.
Okay.
Yeah, so Philip Seymour Hoffman, who sadly passed away a few years ago, his son. They played two teenagers in the 1970s, I think, early 70s. She's older. She's like 19. He's like 15, I think. There's like a not insignificant age gap between them. And they become like fast friends. They meet at like a high school thing and they become friends, even though she's a lot older. And he kind of has a crush on her, but she's kind of, no, I'm too old. I'm not dating a 15-year-old kind of thing. And it's just kind of, there's not a whole lot of plot, but it's just a lot of like fun moments of just the two of them kind of hanging out and having wild adventures. There's a crazy side plot halfway through, which is really, really fun.
Yeah.
With Bradley Cooper, where he plays this like psychotic, cocaine-addicted showbiz person. And he shows up for like 15 minutes of the film. He's not in it for much, but it's one of those like moments when someone appears in a film and it just like kind of steals the whole movie.
Nice.
It's a lot of fun.
I like that.
Yeah. You'll really like him in it for sure. It's laugh out loud hilarious. Like, it's the most fun I've ever had, because Bradley Cooper's one of those actors who I generally find talented but a little dull. He never really blows me away. In this is easily the most fun thing he's ever done.
Okay.
So yeah, he's great. She's really great. The girl, Alana Haim, she's fantastic. All the acting's fantastic. Loads of really fun little cameos pop up. Lots of famous people just pop up for a couple of scenes. And it just, this one was a really good time. Great like 70s soundtrack. I would put that one high on the list for sure. I think you'll have a good time with that one.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. What else is there? I feel like there's so many I'm talking about now, but then you've not seen anything, so I guess this is...
No, this is really interesting to me.
Cool, good. Well, I hope it's interesting to the listeners as well. West Side Story.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Have you seen the original West Side? Well, the old West Side Story.
I'm not sure if I have, but I do vaguely know the story because I saw a stage show of it a few years ago. Didn't like it.
No, I don't love the story of West Side Story, which sounds worse than it is. But like, it's basically very much a reheated Romeo and Juliet, but set in like the Latin community of America. So yeah, I don't love the story, but the songs are the selling point.
Yes,
it's got a very, very iconic soundtrack.
I assume it's using the original songs.
All the same songs. So I Want to Be in America. There's a Place for Us Somewhere. Tonight. There's a lot of songs that you'll hear them and be like, even if the titles aren't giving you anything, you'll hear them and be like, oh, that really famous song. There's loads of that.
Yeah.
This is Steven Spielberg, and it's very much a Steven Spielberg film. It looks fantastic. It's very ambitious. There's lots of sweeping cinematography.
Yeah. Has he done a musical before?
No, I think it's his first musical.
All right.
So yeah, it's probably the best film he's done in ages, because he's had like a few slightly dodgy ones, like Ready Player One, for example, wasn't that great.
Yeah, that was him.
It was. Yeah. So no, this feels like Spielberg doing his best crowd-pleasing Spielberg.
Yeah.
So this was pretty good. Like, again, I still don't love the story, but it was very pretty to look at. The music sounded great. So the main actors I wasn't that thrilled with. I didn't think the girl who plays Maria was terribly interesting. She has a beautiful voice, but I didn't think she was the most interesting actress in the world. Also, it's a boring part. That's the other thing with West Side Story, is it's a boring part. The leads, all they do is fall in love and moan about it.
Yeah.
And that's dull. But there are a lot of really good side characters. The girl who plays Anita, who is the character who sings the most famous song, which is I Want to Be in America, America. You know that song, right?
Yeah.
She is an absolute star. Like, she walks away with the movie, 100%. Every time she's on screen, just lights it up.
Nice.
She's
Do you think she'll get anything then?
Well, I think she's the front runner to win Best Supporting Actress, and deservedly so.
Yeah.
She is absolutely fantastic. She really deserves to definitely be up there. So, yeah, she's great. And like I said, the musical numbers are really well choreographed. They look absolutely fantastic. Yeah, this one I was glad I saw in the cinema, because it feels like it's a cinema event. So it's a shame that not many people saw it in the cinema. But yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun. I think this might do well because it's Spielberg and he always does well, but also I think there might be a bit of sympathy for him because the film made so little money, because it wasn't like it didn't get good reviews. Again, it just got caught with COVID.
Right.
I think a lot of older people are more inclined to go and see a musical, especially one that's based on an old property. And it came out against Spider-Man, and all the young people went to see Spider-Man, and the older people just didn't go to the cinema. Yeah. So it really lost a lot of money. But I think this is one of those ones where people might be like, oh, that deserved better. So, and it does deserve to be in the mix for sure. I don't know if I'd necessarily put it in a Best Picture, but I can appreciate it being there, and I'm sure it'll be in a lot of the technical ones. And yeah, I'm pretty sure she's the girl, she's like 30. Ariana DeBose, I think, will win Best Supporting Actress or come very close. So yeah, that was a good time. A good film. One that I've not seen, so I can't say much about it, but one that will probably be in the mix that I should watch at some point is King Richard.
Oh yeah.
This is the tennis one, which I remember seeing the trailer for this and thinking, oh, this seems misguided, because it's the story of Serena and Venus Williams, the iconic, fantastically talented tennis stars, as told from the perspective of their dad.
Yeah.
So it's like, here's two amazing women, let's tell their dad's story.
Yeah.
Which just made me think, well, why? Yeah. What a weird choice.
Is he the interesting one in the family?
What a weird choice in 2022, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's some sort of a framing device.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. Apparently the Williams sisters were very much collaborating on the story, and so it's not just like someone's been like, hey, let's tell this man's story.
Oh, right. Okay.
So, and apparently Will Smith is really good. He's the front winner to win Best Actor. I wonder if again, I've not seen it. Maybe it's the best thing he's ever done. I will decide after watching it.
I mean, it's not going to be better than Wild Wild West.
Well, true. Yeah, that's too high of a bar. Yeah. But it might just be one of those things where it's like, well, Will Smith should definitely have an Oscar by now. So in a year when I would say the acting, Best Actor is probably one of the less competitive categories. So probably one of those things. Well, let's give it to the megastar who has paid his dues. But that might be me being a snob. I've not seen the film, so I'll watch the film and I'll get back to you on that one. But it looks like it's going to be quite a crowd pleasing one. You know, it's Will Smith. It's never going to be super, depressing and gritty. Apart from that one where he tried to kill himself by selling all his organs, but never mind. That's a strange one.
I remember that being really good. I mean, quite sad, sure.
Yeah,
but I remember it being really good.
True. I guess.
And I've always wanted to watch it again because it was such a good film, but I've never got it in me.
No, yeah.
And it's such a difficult one to suggest. Like, hey, do you want to watch £7 tonight?
Yeah, exactly. Stop.
No,
never going to be in the movie. It's not really a date night movie. But yeah, so we'll see on that one. I'm interested to see it. I missed it in the cinema, but I will definitely see it before the Oscars ceremony, which unless it doesn't get nominated for anything, but I think that's unlikely. So it's almost certainly going to get Best Actor. The other Best Actor contender is Andrew Garfield in a Netflix film.
Tick, Tick, Boom. Yeah. Which initially when I saw the trailer for it and found out what it was, I was like, oh, this sounds like a cash-in. This sounds awful. Yeah. But apparently it's doing really well.
Yeah, no, I was surprised how much I liked this.
Oh, you watched it?
I watched it, yeah. No, I really enjoyed this. I thought this was a lot of fun. It's about the story of the guy who wrote the famous musical Rent. Now, I don't like Rent. I don't actually think it's a very good musical.
Same.
So that immediately made me think, no.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
This is the music from this is not the music from Rent, which in my mind is a plus. It's
not that style, you mean?
It's not that style, no.
Right.
It's a Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Ah.
I don't know how that man hasn't burned out yet. He produces so much stuff.
Is he going for an EGOT?
Oh, he's absolutely going for an EGOT. He's desperate for an EGOT.
Yeah,
because he's got the egged. He's got the egged. He just needs the O. So yeah, he's got his Emmy. He's got his Grammy. He's got his Tony. So
he got an Emmy?
I think so for the TV. I think he got it for like the TV production of Hamilton. I'm pretty sure he's got an Emmy for something.
What? Because Hamilton was filmed and released on Disney Plus. That got him an Emmy.
I'm sure he's got it for something. Maybe.
That is. A lot of other EGOT wannabes are probably kicking themselves out of that.
There's always one. Yeah. Actually, he might get his Oscar this year for Encanto because he wrote all the songs for that as well. Like in this 12.
I've heard that Disney aren't pushing that one for music.
Oh, are they not? That's interesting because I would have thought.
Or maybe they're just not pushing the Bruno song.
Yeah, because the Bruno song's been
that's the catchy one. Yeah. That's the Let It Go of the movie.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but if they don't, they're insane. Because
that's not my favorite of the movie.
No, but it's the one that's the hit. So I didn't know that, but if not, then they're mad because it's been massive. But anyway, yeah, in the past 12 months, he's done In the Heights, he's done Tick Tick Boom, and he's done Encanto. It's like, my God, take a rest.
Yeah,
but that being
In the Heights, that he probably wasn't writing new music for the movie because that was an adaptation.
Oh, that's true. That is based on a thing he made years ago.
Yeah, so he was probably less involved in that one.
Possibly, yeah, but still,
unless he was directing it, which would surprise me.
He had his I
know that he was in it.
He was in it for
and it's his story.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But anyway, this is very much in his style. It's got that very what a Lin-Manuel Miranda musical sounds like. It's very talky, very rappy, But yeah, it really worked for me. This was, for me, the Andrew Garfield show. It's a really good showcase.
He's riding so high right now.
He's having a great year. Yeah. He is really charismatic in this. His singing is great. The musical performances are really fun. Actually, you know who else is great, surprisingly? Vanessa Hudgens from The Princess Switch, isn't it? And she's like more of a MC kind of character, where she's not like a character who has a lot of speaking in it, but she does a lot of the numbers with him. And there's one number in particular that I thought was just so delightful. It's just the two of them sitting on a stool. I forget what it's called, but it's like a musical number about having a breakup. But it's not like sad breakup song. It's like funny breakup song.
Okay.
And it's really fun, and she's fantastic in it. And she has great. Her hair looks so shiny. I don't know why, but I've been watching this really fun thing and God, her hair looks great. What is she using? So.
What, are you thinking of using it for what?
No, when you watch it, and I recommend it, look out for her hair.
Okay.
She's got very shiny hair. But Tick Tick Boom I thought was very fun, very interesting. I didn't know the story particularly well, so it was really interesting to have that backstory on him and how he came to write this very powerful, even though I don't like it very much, play. Whether I like it or not, it's a play that a lot of people love, and it's obviously quite significant because it's a lot about people, the AIDS crisis and people dying of AIDS, and so there's a lot of that in this film about how he wasn't gay. The film kind of doesn't go too much into his identity, but he has a girlfriend for a lot of this film, so he was at the least bi. But he like all his friends are gay, and so in this film, Tick Tick Boom, like he's seeing a lot of his friends get sick and die. And again, this makes it sound super depressing, but it's not. It's handled in a way that's not too bleak. And then he writes this musical Rent as kind of a way to express that. And it's really heartwarming and interesting. And yeah, Andrew Garfield, absolute star turn. Like, he's great. If he doesn't win an Oscar this year, he'll get one day because he's just an absolute, he's just brilliant. He's a movie star. He can do it all. So
yeah, good
on Andrew Garfield.
Good, yeah. God, I wish I'd tried watching that one last night instead of The Lost Daughter.
Sorry, I should have recommended that one to you. Yes. Well, no, to be fair, you did explicitly ask
something that Louise wouldn't like.
Something that your wife would not want to watch. And
it sounds like Tick Tick Boom would be a good time all round.
Yeah, there's loads of the thing is, a lot of the ones on streaming are actually really watchable and fun.
Okay.
So yeah, it was either Lost Daughter or Power of the Dog that you put in. You might want to try on your own if Louise can't be bothered with them.
Yeah,
like she wouldn't miss too much there.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Lost Daughter, though, so that was one that you attempted to watch yesterday, but
yes, I mean I will still watch it. Just I had to stop.
That's fine. Yeah. You know, family calls. You know. Yeah, this was weird for me because the trailer for it made it look like a thriller. And I was like, oh, I'm well into this, like a dark thriller with Olivia Coleman. Yes, please. That trailer lied.
Oh, that would have been so disappointing.
Yeah, the trailer the trailer completely missells the movie, which is not to say the movie is bad at all. It's quite good. It's based on a novel by an author called Isabella Lend, I think, and it's directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal, Jake's sister.
Okay.
Yeah. It stars Olivia Coleman. She is a single woman who goes to a Greek island for a holiday. Makes Greece look depressing. It's the worst holiday of my life was in Greece. So I was kind of like, maybe I didn't have a bad time. Maybe Greece just sucks.
Oh, right. Well, that's weird because the best holiday of my life was in Greece.
Well, then I guess
a couple months ago.
I know. Of course. Yes, of course. Yeah. No. I would love to go back to Greece. I didn't get the best out of it, but she goes on like a solo holiday to Greece, and she's on this like this like beachy resort, and she encounters a family of, I don't know how far you got into it, but she encounters this family of like quite, I think they're New York, but quite loud-mouthed, rambunctious.
Yeah,
like,
I got to them. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's Dakota Johnson from the 50 Shades movies.
Yeah.
Dakota Johnson, who I think is fantastic in this. I thought she was one of the stars, and the actress who played her sister as well, Dagmara Dominizic or something. I think she's Hungarian. She was really underrated. I thought she was fantastic as well. I thought they were great. Olivia Coleman's performance is outstanding. Like really, really outstanding. And I'm not mad at her getting Oscar nominated at all. But yeah, the film is about her interactions with this family who've got a little girl who goes missing for a portion of the film. And through the film, she's having flashbacks of her own. We find out that she had 2 small children, and it kind of flashes back. It doesn't really tell you, but clearly her relationship with them is not particularly close. And there's lots of flashbacks with where Jessie Buckley plays a young Olivia Coleman.
Okay.
And it kind of reveals through flashback a little bit kind of about what's happened to her and her children, and it explains who she is a little bit. I thought the stuff with Olivia Coleman was really interesting and quite good, and had like quite good tension, but I thought the flashbacks were too much. I thought there were too many, and it kind of belabored the point a little bit. I would have liked it more if there was just like one flashback at the end that was like, this is why she is the way she is.
Right.
Because like the whole film, she's like very spiky and not very friendly to people, but she's obviously like got some kind of dark secret because she's also having some kind of emotional breakdown. She steals a doll and then doesn't give it back for the whole movie kind of thing. She's behaving quite strangely. But then there's all these flashbacks that kind of are like, oh, well, this is why kind of thing. And I just kind of wish they'd saved it all and just done it in one bit at the end, because otherwise it just kind of, I didn't really gel with the Jessie Buckley parts of the film. But Olivia Coleman it's one of the best performances she's given. There's a scene where she's sat in a cinema with a bunch of like rowdy young boys who are just like, making fun of her, insulting her, and she's trying to watch this film and they just like shout, and she tries to shush them, which is obviously a huge mistake, because then they turn on her, and it's hard to describe until you see it, but you'll know it when you see it. Like, she does so much with her face without actually saying anything. It's amazing. You can just see like there's like a long close up on her face while she goes through this like all these emotions of like rage and embarrassment. And it's just without saying a word, it's all there, and it's really impressive. So yeah, she's fantastic. The movie wasn't the most thrilling thing I ever saw, but after watching it, kind of like The Power of the Dog, kind of stayed with me. I kind of like thought about it a lot more, and I might watch this one again close to the time just to like shore up my opinions on it.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, Again, I wouldn't recommend it for Louise because I don't think it would be something she would enjoy. But you could definitely give it a go. I think if you enjoy the acting of Olivia Coleman, you'll find some stuff to enjoy in that for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
So she's not calming down.
Yeah. It's been a weird day. We found her and then she lost her doll.
I used to have a doll like that, called Mina.
Nina.
Mina. What Mini Mama, as my mother called her. You'll find it.
Yeah.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.
We're almost done, I think, of the main ones. Couple of the ones that probably won't get nominated, but I saw, so I'll mention briefly.
Yeah.
There's a Apple TV remake of the Shakespeare play Macbeth, starring Frances McDormand and Denzel Washington.
Okay.
It looks beautiful, and it's Macbeth.
Nice.
And that's pretty much all I can say about it.
Okay.
It is the play Macbeth. If you like Macbeth, you'll like it. If you don't, you
Yeah.
don't. It's very much a faithful Macbeth.
It's just a straight adaptation.
Straight adaptation of Macbeth, all the dialogue from Shakespeare with minimal changes. It is worth watching for the...
Is Macbeth the one that's the Lion King?
No, that's Hamlet.
Oh.
Macbeth is the Scottish play.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, obviously, all Denzel Washington, Frances McDormand, acting-wise, very, very good. It really does look amazing. Like it's shot in black and white, but in this really interesting, not just like grey, in this really interesting kind of almost literally black and white kind of thing.
Right. Okay.
But like its use of shadows is amazing. Like, so the most famous thing about Macbeth is probably the witches. You've got these three witches who do like the whole hubble, bubble, boil and trouble speech, and something wicked this way comes. That line is from this. Very iconic witch scenes. And in this, the three witches are all played by one woman, and they just use a load of shadow to kind of imply this is the one of them, is the three of them. It's hard to describe, but it looks amazing. It's really, really visually impressive. So it's worth watching for that for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's probably going to maybe get a few. Maybe if it doesn't get cinematography, then robbed.
Yeah.
Anything else I can take or leave.
Yeah.
They might get nominated for acting because they always get nominated. They're two of those people. But probably she's literally won her third Oscar last year, so I don't think anyone's like rushing to give her another one. And I can't see him winning either. But they might be in the mix somewhere. So Macbeth, if you like Macbeth, if you watch it. If you don't. Nightmare Alley, the new one from Guillermo Del Toro.
Oh yeah, no, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah.
I like a lot of his work. Not all.
Yeah, I would say. Well, which ones didn't you like?
I don't like some of the more what's the word? Normal stuff. I like Hellboy.
Oh, Hellboy. Okay, sure. When he tries to be a more commercial director.
Commercial. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, this is much more in his kind of Shape of Water wheelhouse for sure.
Right. Yeah. That's where I'm at.
Yeah. It wasn't quite as good as Shape of Water, but I still enjoyed it a lot, and I think you'll like it too. It's definitely got a lot of. You can tell it's a Del Toro. Like the set design is really good. There's some. It's set on a large part of the film is set on a freak show. Like an old school freak show. And so you get a lot of you can imagine what he did with that. You get a lot of really good kind of creepy fun fair shit, which looks great. Stars Bradley Cooper as a drifter who turns up at this freak show and takes a job initially just as like a stagehand to help out, but then he meets a phony psychic played by Toni Collette, and she teaches him kind of how to do cold readings. That thing that like fake psychics still do today. Where it's like, I sense there's someone called Helen. Anyone know a Helen? Oh, you. Oh, no. Oh, Heather. Did she die? Was she sick when she died? Oh, my God, yes. And, it's all that kind of stuff. It's like rotten, but it really exploits people's desperate need to be connected to the loved ones. So, he picks up this and becomes a very successful kind of fake medium, basically. And it's kind of about him on this freak show, and then he goes off and creates a whole act. He gets married and becomes this whole con man. It's really good. I really liked it a lot. I think you'll like it too. It's very atmospheric. My only complaint about this is that it was a little bit felt it should have been a little bit more over the top. Some of it felt a little bit muted.
Right.
Like, it's a really interesting story, and it's set in a freak show. You want it to be like mad, but it's a little bit not like. Kate Blanchett's in it for a bit, and she's like, she knows what movie it should be because she's like really camp.
Got it.
Whereas Bradley Cooper is a little bit underwhelming in the main part, I think.
You think he's miscast?
It was originally supposed to be Leo, and Leo had to pull out for scheduling issues or something.
Mm.
And when I knew that, I was like, oh, that would have been so much better. I could imagine DiCaprio like really doing something with this.
Yeah.
Like Bradley Cooper's fine, he's good, but it doesn't blow me away.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of other good actors in it doing good stuff, and it's really interesting. And I thought the way it ended was it came full circle in a way that I wasn't quite expecting, and I came out of it very satisfied. So I think you'll like that one. I definitely recommend it.
Yeah.
But it feels like it's not going to do as well as Shape of Water. Again, it probably might get some like technical stuff, but it doesn't feel like it's super jumping into like the big leagues for the Oscars. So, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
And then last two I'll talk about. Passing. It's on Netflix. It's very short. This is the year of black and white films. I guess it must be a COVID thing. I guess maybe a bunch of films got filmed on like sets because they couldn't do like the usual big.
Yeah, and I thought they'd just lean into it.
Yeah, just try and make it look less setty. I guess it was in black and white, it hides it. I don't think that's the case for this film. Passing is about, it's set in 1960s or 50s maybe, I think. So in like an era of America, it's in the USA when there was still very much a lot of segregation. And it's about a black woman who runs into an old friend of hers who's also black. This is Tessa Thompson and Ruth Negga, both very, very good, both great in this. And so Tessa Thompson plays this black woman who's like living in like a very much a black society, and she runs into her friend played by Ruth Negga, who she remembers from childhood, who is also black, obviously, but passes as white.
Right.
Because she's more fair-skinned.
Yeah.
And especially back then, apparently this is true, it's really interesting actually. Back then when people were so racist, more so than, in many ways more so than now, it was much more segregated. People thought that black people all had that, had a very dark skin tone. So if you had more, even if you'd look today and think, well, clearly that person's at least somewhat black, or is not white.
Yeah.
But they could just be passed as, oh, she's kind of tanned, So even though Ruth Negga certainly doesn't necessarily look like a white woman to our eyes.
Yeah.
And I guess it being in black and white kind of makes that more believable to a modern audience. But yeah, so she runs to her friend Ruth Negga, who is now living as a white woman and is married to a white man who is super racist. It sounds like a bad comedy, but it's a really interesting setup.
You laughing at it makes it that makes it sound better
because it sounds like a dark comedy. That sounds something like South Park would do or something. But like it's a really interesting setup. The film is okay. It's a little bit. Okay. It doesn't really go where I wanted it to with that kind of premise, but it's very well acted. I thought again they might both get in there somewhere. I think Ruth Negga will probably get Best Supporting Actress. Ruth Negga is just one of those people who, even if she's in a slightly boring film, she's just incredibly magnetic.
Yeah.
So she's really 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 good. So this might get a few acting ones. I don't think it's going to get much beyond that. But and it was very very short, so it went down very quickly. It's on Netflix. Easy again if you want to put something on for 90 minutes. Certainly interesting enough to watch, but not in my top tier this year. But decent, and like I said, interesting setup, but it didn't quite go where I wanted it to go. Yeah. It kind of fizzled out a little bit for me, but it was okay. And lastly, one of my favorites, Parallel Mothers. This is
never heard of this one.
No. I don't think this is going to get anything. It might get a Best Actress. That's it. So this is Penelope Cruz. It's from the same director, Pedro Almodovar, who's my favorite director, who did that film with Antonio Banderas a couple of years ago.
I don't remember what it was called, but I remember it, and I remember really enjoying it.
Yeah, you loved it. Yeah, I was really pleased that you liked it as much as you did. The names has gone out of my head now as well, but it was really good. But this is Penelope Cruz. Again, a really interesting story. And actually this one delivers a lot more in terms of not fizzling out. So she plays a woman who has a baby at the age of like 4, so somewhat late in life, has a baby as a single mother. Like she raises the baby as a single mother. But on the maternity ward, she's sharing the maternity ward with a younger woman who's also having her first baby, and they kind of connect and bond, and they swap numbers, and she's like, well, if you need any help, let's stay in touch stuff. And then they go their separate ways and don't really see each other for like months and months on end. And then she introduces the baby to the father, who like was an old boyfriend, but he didn't want more kids. So they broke up, and she was like, I don't want anything from you. I'll just, I'm happy to raise this kid on my own, kind of thing. So then he comes back into her life, and like, she's like, well, if you want to meet your daughter, here she is. And he's like instantly like, that's not my daughter. I see nothing of me in this child at all. Like physically, there's just nothing there. And she thinks he's trying to be like evasive, but then that lets a seed of doubt in her mind. And then so she does a maternity test, and it turns out the baby's not hers either.
What?
So it's very soapy. Like it's so basically it's like, oh, have the babies been accidentally mixed up on the maternity ward with this younger girl?
Mhm.
And that's what she suspects. And then she has to like get back in touch with the younger girl. And she doesn't tell her, obviously, but then she kind of has to try, kind of somehow figure out how to find out for sure. And she's kind of...
Oh, it's sounding a bit sitcom-y now. Like, she needs to, like, get a swab from this baby. Then the mother comes into the room and just like, oh, it's just a dummy. And
okay, this is the thing. This did make me laugh. Like, so basically, what she does is she invites the younger girl who's like she's like in her early 20s and has a bad relationship with her family and no partner. So she's like, well, come and move in with me. After she finds out, she suspects this.
Move in.
She's like, move in and be like my live-in au pair, my maid kind of thing.
Right.
And so one day Penelope Cruz just walks up to her and she's like, oh, here, sticks a swab into the girl's mouth. And the girl's like, what are you doing? She's like, oh, don't worry about it. I'm just doing a health check. It's fine. It's kind of ludicrous.
Kind of.
It is kind of. But the thing is, this director, Pedro Almodovar, his films are really soapy and silly. And like, baby swaps in the maternity ward. It is very over the top. Like, these are not things that happen, but it just gets away with it somehow. Maybe because it's in Spanish as well. Maybe you just kind of, sometimes world films, sometimes you just kind of suspend disbelief a little bit more. But it manages to not be as ridiculous as it is. You get on board with it. Mostly because Penelope Cruz is amazing.
Yeah.
And I will be sad if she doesn't get nominated because one of the best performances of the year by far. I think she really holds it together. Like it's one of the best performances I think she's ever given. So I really like this a lot. It's not one of the best Almodovar films. It's not because he's like, as I say, one of my favorite directors. It's kind of like just the film's okay to good. Penelope Cruz is fantastic. So yeah. But it's definitely interesting and watchable, and like I say, it's got a lot of over-the-top dramatic things happen, which make it entertaining. So yeah. So that's a good one, but it probably
I'm
will be
intrigued.
Yeah,
I want to know what happens.
I think I think that might be one you can watch at some point for sure. Yeah. So yeah, they're the main ones I think.
Okay.
They're the ones that I've seen. So quite an extensive list.
Yeah.
So I hope that we find out on Tuesday which ones are going to get nominated.
Well, I'm not going to because there's not really any point in me doing it. But do you want to make a prediction on what the Best Picture list is going to look like?
Sure. Okay. I will predict my 9 then.
Yep.
So in order of likelihood,
yeah,
I will say Belfast, locked on, 100%, may well win.
Okay.
Power of the Dog, locked on, could win.
What's Power of the Dog again?
The Netflix one with Benedict Cumberbatch.
And his brother, and it's in the Western. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Dune will almost certainly get nominated. Probably won't win, but will get nominated. I would say West Side Story, very likely to get nominated.
Yeah.
Licorice Pizza, hopefully likely to get nominated. Very, very good. CODA, so that's 6. CODA, I think will do very well. Probably first Apple TV Plus one to get nominated. House of Gucci, I don't quite understand it, but it seems to have picked people like it more than me, so I'm going to predict House of Gucci reluctantly. I'm going to say Don't Look Up will get in. I think enough people are going to like it that it will.
The Oscars like what's his face, the writer.
Yes, his films always do well.
Yeah,
exactly. So I think even though a lot of
this is a little different compared to the other films of his that have been nominated.
For sure.
In the past. But I could definitely see this one getting in. And I really want this one to win Best Screenplay.
Sure.
That's just me.
Yeah, sure. No.
I've not seen many other films, but like this one just really, really spoke to me on that level.
Great. That's good. Well, maybe, yeah. I thought it was a little bit heavy-handed, so I don't think I'd want it to win Best Screenplay, but I'm happy to see it in the mix for sure. So Don't Look Up. And my 9th one could be a few things. Could be King Richard, could be Being the Ricardos, could be Tick, Tick, Boom, could be The Lost Daughter. I'm going to predict The Lost Daughter. I think that will just sneak in there. But it could be Being the Ricardos, could very well be King Richard, could be Tick, Tick, Boom. So,
but you're going to go The Lost Daughter.
They're my 9, yes. So Belfast, Power of the Dog, West Side Story, Dune, Licorice Pizza, House of Gucci, CODA, Don't Look Up, and The Lost Daughter.
Nice.
They're my 9.
Nice.
So we will see.
Yeah.
We will see on Tuesday when the nominations come out. And after that, well, we've got about a month, I think. Is it late March, I think?
Late March, the 27th.
So you've got a good 4 or 5 weeks to try and get cram in as many as you can. And hopefully we'll have time to get together and do a little prediction and kind of ranking of what we thought of these films a little bit more.
Yeah.
Then?
Yeah, hopefully. And we'll try and do full reviews of all the films. I know that obviously we've now spoken a fair bit about a lot of them.
Well, I have. It'll be good to come back and have your opinion on them. So,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Cool. So hopefully we'll be able to do that. But we'll see. Cool. So that is all.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks for sticking with us. I hope you haven't missed us too much. And we'll be back from time to time with more Oscar stuff and more reviews. So speak to you later.
Right. See you next time. Bye.